So good morning to my Merck colleagues. So here's my recipe in the German style. We're making a wheat beer today. And so let's directly start with the ingredients. So when it comes to the ingredients, what we need is two types of malt, wheat malt and viennese malt. And in addition, what we also need is some hops. I use this Tettnanger type hops here, which is in pellets. And of course we need some beer yeast, top fermenting, because we need that for the wheat beer. For the cooking, I'm using such a pot here for normally cooking marmalade. That's also suitable for making the beer. Of course, you can also use your home cooking pot. I'm making a 20-liter batch now, and therefore this one is perfectly suitable. So the first thing I start with is adding water, namely 13 liters of water, and heating up to 38 degrees. Okay, so this has a cooking function here inside. That's why I use it. 13 liter, 38 degrees Celsius. So 13 liters inside, temperature at 38 has been reached. I'm using a thermometer in addition to check the temperature. Yeah, so let's go. So now I'm adding 2 kilograms of viennese malt. Now that's 2 kilograms and put it inside the pot. Next one is 2 kilograms of wheat malt, and both types of malts are crushed directly, readily crushed, as you see. The flavor and the taste is already great. So now everything has been added, both malt types, and now I'm stirring this frequently and keeping it at 38 degrees for 25 minutes. As you see here, I'm taking a little notes, making a small batch record for later. While maintaining the temperature, make sure that you frequently stir. Next step, heat up to 65 degrees. Make sure that you keep stirring. So now the temperature has been reached and I'm letting it rest now for 90 minutes, and the smell in the kitchen already gets incredible. So now 90 minutes have passed and I'm heating up again to 78 degrees. Now 78 degrees have been reached and I'm letting it rest for 10 minutes. Before removing the malt, you can perform the iodid normal test to make sure all the malt starch has been changed to sugar. And this is the test. You add some of this iodid here and can see if the color changes. So the color doesn't change, so it's good, okay? Okay, now time is over. So the enzymatic process has finished now, very good. And now we need to separate the malt from the pot here. And as you see here, I'm using a second pot, which is later used for fermentation, a sieve. And here, this thing. And so the malt now looks like that, yeah, as you can see. And what I'm doing now is take the sieve, put some malt here into the sieve, put the sieve above the second pot, take some of the solution you have now and try to wash out the malt to get the rest of the sugar into your solution, okay? Now, after having washed out that malt, I'm putting it here into a separate dish, and you don't have to throw the malt away. You can make a bread out of it. It tastes fantastic with some flour, salt and yeast again, or give it to your local farmer. So do something sustainable with the rest of the malt you have. All right, all the malt has now been separated and we have a solution here in the second pot, in the fermentation pot. And now the job is to clean the cooking pot, because we will have to put the solution again back into the cooking pot for the hops cooking. The cooking pot has been cleaned and solution goes back into the cooking pot now. Good, now start heating again, full throttle, and add another 15 liters of water, okay? Hot water. All right, now all the water has been added and we're heating up to a temperature of more than 95 degrees Celsius, so full steam cooking. And now it's time to add the hops. For the hops, I use Tettnanger as said initially, and we need 25 grams of hops. It's in pellets form, and so maybe you can put that in a tea sieve, or I'm using such a filter bag here because we need to take it out again later. I'm putting the filter bag now here into the pot and fixing it here at the side to be able to take it out again later. And now we're cooking for 90 minutes. Cooking process is going on now, and you see here the filter bag, and make sure to sometimes stir around. Alright, we can stop the cooking now. 90 minutes have gone, and now I can remove the hops here, the bag with the hops at the right side. I'm waiting until all the water has flown out, and afterwards we have to cool the entire solution down to 20 degrees. You can do that in your sink, so put the cooking pot in a sink maybe. So I'm using a small heat exchanger here, and so now we're going to cool it down to 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so our solution has 20 degrees again, and we're transferring it back now to the fermentation pot. Alright, the transfer is done. Last step for today, I'm adding the yeast, stirring around and putting a fermentation closing here on top so that CO2 can go out but nothing can go in, okay? And then we have to wait for 1 week, so see you next week. Alright colleagues, so 1 week is gone, and the next step is to add some sugar for carbonization into your beer. So what we need is 200 grams of sugar. Just add it into the fermentation pot, and afterwards fill your beer into bottles or in such a barrel as I'm using it. So for 20 liters I'm using 4 barrels here. And then the last step of the fermentation will take place. So firstly, keep the beer 1 week at 20 degrees storage, and then afterwards 3 weeks at 8 degrees. And then comes the big moment. Enjoy your beer and have fun. Thanks a lot.